Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for finding and joining in on this week's online service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation Santa Rosa, which is a progressive and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to celebrating life, empowering people, caring for one another, and helping to build a better world. And we know you have a place here. However you are, however you're feeling, wherever you are on your journey today, if you are filled with hope or filled with despair, if you are making things work or you feel like things are falling apart all around you, if you're grieving, happy or sad, clear or confused, you are welcome here. And I'm glad that you found us. If you haven't yet liked us on Facebook or visited our webpage, please do so. If you want to get on any of our mailing lists, particularly email lists, find us there online or call the office. We want to make sure that you're staying connected. You can find me personally on Facebook as well. I look forward to having a conversation with you. To answer this week's Ask Reverend question from Facebook, yes, this is a ponytail scrunchie holding my computer glasses together. My optometrist isn't open yet. So we're just making it work, aren't we? All of us. Speaking of making it work, members, I am asking you, please continue to try and weave the web of connection that holds us together. Pick up the phone, call someone you've been thinking about, call someone in your neighborhood group. If your neighborhood group isn't meeting, call your facilitators and ask how you can help, or call me or call John Mason. We want to make sure that we're all finding a way to feel connected with one another in these isolating times. So bless you. Thanks for being here. Send us a little money if you can. And before we move on into the time of worship, here is a short message from our wonderful choir director, Sadie Sontag.
Greetings, UU family. I wanted to come by and say hi because this is our final choir performance before we go on break for the month of August. We will be back on September 13th for the in-gathering. Our choir is going to do a couple of rehearsals prior to that, and we will be back with another song for you for the in-gathering. I wanted to take a moment to thank all of you in the UU congregation for your messages of encouragement and hope and gratitude and inspiration. Thank you for reaching out and sharing yourselves with me during this time. And I want to thank Bonnie and Dara and Chris for all of their amazing leadership and flexibility and communications with me. And I want to thank Roger for always being there right at the ready with the music when we need it. And Robert and Kathy for helping with getting the editing done. That has been a huge help. Thank you so much. And I especially want to thank the UU Choir for being with me and being such a wonderful, tremendous group of people. I'm truly, truly blessed to get to work with this group of people. And especially now, I'm so grateful. So thank you to the UU Choir for all of your energy and being amazing people. And also thank you so much for helping me to create and fly this plane. We'll see you guys September 13th.
Hello, friends. We light this chalice as a beacon of hope for genuine transformation in the institutional racism that plagues our country. This reading is Martin Luther King, 1963, Washington, D.C. Although Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, 157 years ago, the life of Black people in America is still sadly crippled by the manacles of systemic discrimination. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of this systemic discrimination to the sunlit path of racial justice. This summer of legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. Whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundation of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. We will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing on. Every round goes higher, higher. Every round goes higher, higher. Every round goes higher, higher. We are climbing on. If I stumble, will you help me? If I stumble, will you help me? If I stumble, will you help me? We are climbing on. Though the road is steep and rugged, though the road is steep and rugged, though the road is steep and rugged, we are climbing on. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing on.
Here's a brand new poem from Lynn Ungar. If you're not familiar with Lynn Ungar's work, you can find her online. She's a Unitarian Universalist poet and religious educator, and she's been on a tear lately. And here is her brand new poem from just a couple days ago. It's called Leaf Blowers. Leaf blowers are an instrument of the devil. They snarl from across the street while you were trying to sleep, and pollute the air with dust and gas, and pointlessly blow leaves around for the next gust to bring right back where they started. Good people use a rake or a broom as God intended. I knew this clear as day, until the dads showed up at the protest, joined the wall of moms with fists upraised, singing, "Hands up, don't shoot," in tones that would comfort a baby. The dads brought hockey sticks to bat away the canisters of tear gas, and leaf blowers to disperse the gas back whence it came. I don't trust anyone who tells me what God intends. Nonetheless, I will tell you this. God means for us to use the tools we have on hand to protect what is threatened and growing.
One, each person is worthwhile. Two, be kind in all you do. Three, let's help each other grow. Four, keep searching for the true. Five, each person has a say. Six, work for a peaceful world. Seven, the web of life's the way that will bring us back to you.
Good morning. I'm Jen Freese, your Director of Religious Education. I have a book that I love that I'm excited to share with you this morning, and it's called A is for Activist by Innosanto Nagara. And a lot of people may think initially, and kids think that, oh, it's an alphabet book, and oh, it's a board book. And I love this book actually because it's so much more for that or than that. And it's fun and it's funny, but it's also really great in opening up children's minds to words like ally and justice and open minds. And it packs a lot of work into a really small book about activism. So I hope that you enjoy it as well. A is for activist, advocate, abolitionist, ally, actively answering a call to action. Are you an activist? B is for banner, bobbing in the sky, billowing in the breeze, 'cause you're not shy. C is for co-op, cooperating cultures, creative counter to corporate vultures. Oh, and cats. Can you find the cats? D, little d democracy, more than voting, you'll agree. Dictators detest it. Donkeys don't get it, but you and me, we demand equality. E, equal rights, black, brown, or white. Clean and healthy is a right. Every place we live and play, environmental justice is the way. F is for feminist, for fairness in our pay, for freedom to flourish and choose our own way. G is for grassroots, sprouting from below, sharing nutrients and the water's flow. Below the surface, we're all connected. Stronger together, we grow. H is for healthy food, a human right. Honeydew, jicama, nature's delight. Hummus, hot dogs, Havarti cheese. Hot dogs? Yes, healthy hot dogs, please. And pizza. I, indigenous and immigrant, together we stand tall. Our histories are relevant. An injury to one is an injury to all. J J is for justice. Yay for justice. Jajing, Jang, Juanita, Jamal, justice for the janitors, justicia for all. Kings are fine for story time. Knights are fun to play. But when we make decisions, we will choose the people's way. L, LGBTQ. Love who you choose, 'cause love is true. Liberate your notions of limited emotions. Celebrate with pride our links of devotion. M, megaphones marching. Movimiento music. Hip hip hooray. It must be May Day. N, N is for no. No, no, no. Yes to what we want. No to what must go. No, no, no. O, open minds operate best. Critical thinking over tests. Wisdom can't be memorized. Educate, agitate, organize. P, peace march, protest, power to the people, yeah. Q is for question, questioning coercion, querying qualities, counter false assertions. R, radical reds, the headline said. Ruinous rioters, the rumors spread. Rabble-rousing riffraff. Really? S. S is for sun, sol, solar, superstar, stellar power. Fuels all life, not just flowers. Energized homes, cars, and showers. Silly, selfish scoundrels sucking on dinosaur sludge. Boo. Hiss. T. T is for trans, for trains, tiaras, tulips, tractors, and tigers too. Trust in the true, the he, she, they, that is you. U is for weekends. U is for workers' rights. Wait, that's not you, that's W. And you. U is for union, yes. Union, yes. V is for vox. What? Did you say fox? No, I said vox. Did you say box? No, vox. Rocks? Blocks? Socks? Vox. Vox of the people. Voice of the populi. Better go see the letter D. W, wondrous world, wondrous we. We cannot be whole, we cannot be free, unless we delight in diversity. X. X is for Malcolm, as in Malcolm X. History's lessons can be complex. Remember Parks, remember King, remember Malcolm, and let freedom ring. Y. Y is for you and youth, your planet, your rights, your future, your truth. Y is for yes, 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 yes. Z. Z is for Zapatista, of course. The end.
We are Unitarian Universalist people of open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hand.
Yay!
Hello, I'm Bruce, one of your lay chaplains. Milestones are where we share our joys and sorrows with the congregation. You're invited to light a candle to remember those you are holding near to your hearts. I'll light one here. If you'd like, pause the video and light your own candle. Jan Freese shared that Rory Freese turned 6 years old last Saturday, July 18th. He continues to be the sweetest little guy, and we couldn't love him more. Happy birthday, Rory. From Sam Miller, on July 29th, Bets will have another surgery to remove 2 plates and 14 screws from her ankle. It'll be in and out on the same day, and I will be providing room service as part of my caring. Jamie Kerr asked that we please keep Ruth Bader Ginsburg in our prayers. Mary Louise Jaffrey wrote, John and I are requesting healing thoughts and prayers for a family who are close to us and originally from Guatemala, but now live in Palm Springs. Oscar, the father, has been in ICU for over a week and a half with COVID. He's been on a respirator and been given experimental blood donation that has antibodies from a recovered patient. Unfortunately, his kidneys have been shutting down, so now he has been on dialysis and seems to stabilize, but again, it's gotten worse. To add to all this, his younger brother has just died Thursday morning from COVID. Please send your healing thoughts and prayers to Oscar and his family, and to Mary and Louise and John. Katie Trailer wrote, my friend Phil, a 25-mile-a-day bike rider in San Jose, is in the ICU with concussion and cracked ribs after a bike accident. I'm saying meta for him many times daily. As Reverend Chris shared on Wednesday, I'm sorry to have to report that our friend and fellow member Bob Clement died today after 97 years of life, well over 70 years of marriage to his beloved Phyllis. A combination of a bad fall that injured his hip and his congestive heart failure had taken him to the hospital for relief from pain. He passed peacefully there. He was clear in the head as he left their home and appears to have known that he was at the very end. Bob was a member of one of our men's groups, and with Phyllis, a stalwart contributor to our Advocates for Social Justice. He was a kind and gracious and generous gentleman of the old school in every way. He was dearly missed, and Bob will be interred in our UUCSR Memorial Garden, but our proper memorial service will likely wait until the end of the pandemic. If you have something to share, please send it to latechaplains@UUCSR. Let us know if you want us to include it here in the online service or just the weekly compilations in the Milestones book. If you have a private concern, we'd love to talk with you. Your lay chaplains are Paula Hammett, Lucille Milburn, Barbara Kerr, Bruce Hope, Tamara Morell, Mary Lil Lee, and Al Liner. We give thanks for the sharing of these milestones, for how they remind us of our shared humanity, our common fate, and inspire our compassion and care. May all our joys be magnified as we delight together in the good news. May all our sorrows be eased as we carry them together in community. May you who are searching for courage, comfort, faith, and hope find what you seek, and may all people grow in wisdom, compassion, and love, that the whole world might live in justice and in peace. Be safe and be well.
Here's a prayer from our hymnal, number 505, the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. Let us be at peace with our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all and to all living things. Evoking the presence of the great compassion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and towards all living beings. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of suffering to each other. With humility, with awareness of the existence of life and the sufferings that are going on around us, let us practice the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Amen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart the strength of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, smooth in the land, giving light the shape of justice, roots holy close, wings set me free, Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. The moral arc of the universe may bend toward justice, but it seems to take tens of thousands of people pushing on it over decades and even centuries. In 1958, I sat with black friends at lunch counters, not being served and not so gently removed. For the ensuing 60 years, I have witnessed constant pressure for full citizenship rights for black people. The moral arc has budged, but it still has a lot of bending to do. Likewise with women's rights. 35 years ago, 1985, I was the first woman to hold a particular job in a particular Fortune 500 company. The secretary explained to me, "This is how the men fill out expense reports. This is how the men get a company car. This is how the men get travel reservations." Clearly, it was a man's job and a man's world. I was an imposter. A few years later, the boss said to me, "Rose, you take more sick leave than anybody." To which I replied, "I take sick leave when my children are sick. I can't send them to school or daycare." That occurred to him like a truly novel and peculiar response. I didn't find it novel or peculiar. Maybe we've come a long way, baby, but not long enough. With such justice struggles, we just keep on keeping on, whether it looks like the moral arc is bending, and even when it appears to be bending backward. Think reproductive rights. Why is it hard to understand that women's equal employment and equal educational participation require women's reproductive freedom? And so we continue, in the streets, in the courts, on social media, sending money to the ACLU, whatever tactics we can think of. We resolve to continue to bend that moral arc, even though it feels like we are filling a large water bucket, one drop at a time.
Friends, there is nothing I miss more in our time apart than our ability to sing together in worship. That absolutely essential part of our spiritual gatherings where we raise our voices in song together. No matter how good or bad of a singer we might think we are, I sing as loud as I can just to let everybody know you don't have to be a good singer to feel that power of all of our voices as one. There's a famous poem from Bertolt Brecht when he was in exile in the 30s in Denmark that reads, "In the dark times will there also be singing? Yes, there will also be singing about the dark times." And there needs to be singing about the times to come. Songs of hope, songs that remind us of our vision, songs that remind us to hang in there and stick with the struggle and work together for the world we dream of. And this is one of those songs. I hope you'll sing it with me. It's "Come and Go With Me to That Land." Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. One more time. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. With me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Sounds good, doesn't it? It's not a complete picture of the promised land, mind you. There will also be kindness and compassion in that land. There will be love and acceptance and vision and creativity and sharing and gentleness, non-attachment in that land. There will be enough food in that land. There will be enough medicine, enough ICU units, enough money. There will be mountains and rivers and birds and foxes, and there will be parties and swimming and bike rides and movies and hip-hop and jam bands and jazz in that land. Think how many verses that song could actually have if we sang everything that will be in the world to come, in the land to which we are bound. What would you add to that verse, I wonder? You know, we are filled with longing these days and so aware of how humans don't make it easy on themselves, on ourselves, on each other. We've had visions of that land to come, that land to which we're bound, for as long as we've had big enough brains to imagine the future and to know of our own mortality, to know that things matter. From at least the time of the prophets in the Hebrew Bible, Buddha and Lao Tzu, well over 2,500 years. Farther back, we've been painting pictures, writing books, and singing songs about what life could be like, should be like, if we just saw things clearly, acted clearly. There have been so many voices raised, so many songs sung. And yet, here we are, in the middle of a period that, once again, feels like the end times. It's not the end times, but it feels that way. So much on edge now, so much being revealed about the flaws and wounds and scars and evils in our society and in ourselves. The maybe bad news first is that it seems to me that our human lives may never be without difficulties, without conflict, without struggle. It is the fate of being a being in a body to experience conflict within and without, to experience illness and death. If you're lucky, you get to experience the challenges of old age. No one has yet built a human society, very few even small human families, that are free from conflict and difficulty, however enlightened or embracing they purport to be. Ours is no exception. Watch us try to pick new carpet. Our trek to the Promised Land, our climb up Jacob's Ladder, our walk over the Pettus Bridge, which I hope is a metaphor that poets are using 1,000 years from now. That struggle, that trek, that climb is a long wilderness journey because it is so hard to be a human being. There are all these tensions and confusions and conflicts that seem to be inescapably built in. And it's then the challenge of our faith to give us a framework within which we can embrace that fact with some love and grace. We try to feel the still small voice within, to hear it and to heed it. And we want to hear and heed the voices of suffering and yearning that are on the streets and airwaves. We're called to follow our own path with integrity, but also called to serve the common good and the whole. And frequently, these things are in some conflict or in some tension. Certainly right now, it's hard just to take care of oneself, to take care of one's family and loved ones, let alone try to take care of one's congregational community or city or one's country when there's only so much time in the day and space in here. In the middle of these tensions and confusions and conflicts of difference and so on, we continue to seek a place of integrity, a place of abiding faith, a place where we recognize ourselves and like what comes out of our mouths. In short, we want to find our voice. It's kind of a funny phrase, isn't it? Particularly given how much humans talk, starting out as babies, trying to find our voice with all the goo-goos and gagas and putting our first sentences together, and then learning to construct abstract thought. We spend a lot of our lives speaking. We spend a lot of our lives yammering too, I might add. our whole life is a quest to find our voice. I'm still in the middle of that quest to find my voice. And I speak out loud for a living. And of course, this finding our voice that I'm encouraging us toward today is different for every person. It has a public and private aspect. Clearly, in the public side, we are at one of those moments where people need to find their voice, where people need to speak up and out. And I have been so inspired in recent days, as fraught as things seem, by, of course, the enduring protests and the resistance to oppression that has emerged all around us. I was inspired just a couple days ago listening to AOC school Representative Yoho about his mistreatment of women. And I'm inspired to see, someone like Dr. Fauci doing his best to speak around the giant lying ego that pretends to lead our nation. And in these times, I urge you, I'm trying to find a way to express yourself. We have to. We got to write letters to Congress people, to our county supervisors. We got to find those causes we care about and find some way to add our voice to the chorus that is making change. If you feel safe occasionally, get out there, join one of those protests. We're in the middle right now of this incredible chorus of protest and pain and possibility, and I hope we can each find a way to add our voice to it in our own way, not with anger, not with hate, but with love and hope and a feeling of potential. And I say this because, as usual, I'm preaching to myself, because I actually have been struggling to find my voice, to express myself, to know where to put my energies. That's hard to admit as a preacher, that you're struggling to find your voice. But I feel strange pressure from the times, and I feel strange pressure from within to find my authentic voice. I'm pressured even by these videos, by the fact that this is the way that we communicate now. Because I'm so conscious of the camera and what do I sound like and how do I look? And I just want to sound like me. I just want to sound like me. Why is that such a struggle? I spent a lot of time thinking about that this week. You see, if I spend a lot of time thinking, I can spend less time writing and preaching. It's hard finding a voice to speak to the world and its affairs and to the heart and its affairs every week. It's been a real struggle for me lately in particular, and I've been wondering about that. And I think one reason I want to share with you is because I have been doing a lot of work lately, therapeutic work, with a fine counselor here in town to help me understand the impact on my self-awareness and my relationships that came from the experiences of abuse that I had as a child. I've spoken about this a few times in the past, but unfortunately, I am a victim of childhood sexual abuse at the hands of a member of my church when I was an early teenager. And that happened partly because of the other big thing that I have to work with, which is my difficult relationship with my father, who, as I've told you, had, I'm certain, narcissistic personality disorder. And so these experiences are like right in front of me all the time. The work is good. It's changing me, but it's hard. And one reason it's hard, one reason I think I'm struggling to find my voice as a kind of public figure with you right now, is because I wish I could say otherwise. Donald Trump is a lot like my father. And so, the therapeutic work and the triggering incidences feel like they're very alive right now. And what I'm learning in the therapy is what are some of the common responses, right, to that feeling of being put upon or abused. And, my instincts over my whole life have been to hide away, to make jokes to keep everybody happy, to deflect the energy away, to not get pinned down saying too much too strongly, to not speak out loud about the things that are too hard or scary or painful. So I'm feeling this deep instinct to kind of hide these days, and thus looking with envy upon so many great writers and speakers and public figures who are taking the lead all around us. The reason I shared that struggle and that work with you today is mostly to let you know that if you are also struggling to find your voice, it's okay. And that humanity's struggle to find our shared voice, to sing with one song, that struggle is also okay. We're not failing. Every little step up the ladder counts. The inner work, the outer work, it all adds up together. And the voice I most want to share with you, as always, is the voice I most need to hear. The voice of love, the voice of the sacred. We did a class recently online here at UUCSR on one of our sources, the second source, to which we turn when we need inspiration and strength. The second source is words and deeds of prophetic people that call us to confront powers and structures of evil with the transforming power of love. And all kinds of good questions were raised in the class, including, what does it mean to be a prophet? And one thing that word means is to dare to speak in the voice of God, which Lynn Ungar said she was suspicious of, but then went ahead and did anyway. And we see this in the Hebrew prophets to which we turned that remind us, speak out against injustice, speak out against wrongdoing. That's the public voice that is required. And inside, do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with the divine. That is the advice that Micah said God wanted us to hear, just as she now wants us to hear the sound of those leaf blowers. And that's the voice I want to hear, and it's so the voice I will try to speak in. And just tell you that in the middle of all this struggle and all these difficulties, you are loved. You are lovable. You are loving. That even if your decisions and circumstances have led you in your life right now to feel deeply alone and lonely, the bright, infinite sky of universe mind is shining now for you, in you, and through you. The true basis of being is love, and that being loves you. It's instantly forgiving your flaws, your mistakes. You don't even need to ask forgiveness to receive that love. Although when you receive that love, if you open yourself to it and feel it, it does tend to make you want to apologize for all the ways you have failed it. I apologize for the ways I have failed in love. That's the voice I most want to find. Because that voice, that love voice, that's the still small voice, but it is also the wall-tumbling trumpet voice of love. It's the justice voice, it's the freedom voice, it's the blessing voice. If we wake up to that, hear it, and speak it, we might just save ourselves and save the world. It is faith in love. It is the speaking of love to self and other that saves us and saves the world. I want to hear it, and I hope it has spoken through me to you today. I hope to carry that faith in every aspect of my life so that I might say the words that you are about to hear in a beautiful song, which allegedly are found scrawled on the walls of a concentration camp. I believe in the sun even when it's not shining. I believe in love even when I don't feel it. I believe in God even when God is silent. I do believe in that love. I do believe in our Buddha nature, in creation, in humanity, in love, and in you. So bless you, and bless us all as we make our way through another week together.
I believe in the sun. I believe in the sun. Even when it's not shining.
This closing reading is from the hymnal, number 462. It's Paul Robeson. I shall take my voice to wherever there are those who want to hear the melody of freedom, or the words that might inspire hope and courage in the face of despair and fear. My weapons are peaceful, for it is only by peace that peace can be attained. The song of freedom must prevail.